You ever notice how the air feels different before something terrible happens? Quiet, too quiet. Like the world is holding its breath, waiting. People go about their little lives blind, pretending nothing's wrong. But no, you can't ignore it. You feel it gnawing at you, like claws scraping inside your chest. A horror is crawling closer, step by step, and it doesn't come for the weak. No, it comes for the ones who matter, the ones marked, the ones chosen, and that's you. The air always shifts before the storm. Most people never notice it. They're too busy, too distracted, staring at their glowing little screens, chasing shadows of meaning in empty things. But if you stop, if you listen closely, you can feel it. That strange heaviness, like the world is leaning in, pressing down on your shoulders, whispering secrets you're not supposed to hear. It's not the storm itself. No, it's the warning, a signal. The calm that pretends to be harmless, but hides something darker underneath. It starts with silence. Have you ever heard silence so loud, it makes your ears ring? That's not peace. That's the world holding its breath. The birds stop singing. The wind stops dancing. Even the sky seems to stiffen, like it knows what's coming. You walk through the streets, and everything looks the same, but nothing feels the same. It's the kind of silence that makes you feel like you're not alone, even when you are. Like someone, or something, is watching, waiting. Most people, they brush it off. They say, it's just the weather, or I'm imagining things. They laugh it away, because it's easier to pretend nothing is happening than to admit everything is about to change. They ignore the shift, and that's why they're always caught off guard when the storm finally breaks. They scream, they panic, they run, because they thought the calm meant safety. But the chosen don't fall for that trick. They notice the air. They taste the static. They smell the electricity. They feel the storm before it's even born. The shift in the air. It's more than nature. It's more than thunderclouds and wind. It's a test. A question whispered by the universe. Are you awake? Are you ready? Most people answer with denial. They look away. But not you. Not the ones who carry that weight in their bones. You sense it. It coils around your spine, makes your skin crawl, and deep down, some part of you already knows the horror is moving, and it's moving toward you. That shift, it isn't just outside, it gets inside. It changes you. Your thoughts get sharper, but darker too. Little things that never bothered you suddenly scratch at your nerves. A laugh feels hollow. A smile feels fake. You look around, and every face is a mask. Every sound is suspicious. Every shadow stretches longer than it should. The air presses down on your lungs, making it hard to breathe. And that's when you realize you're not imagining it. You're being prepared. The world isn't warning everyone. It's warning you. People will call you paranoid. They'll say you're overthinking. They'll try to laugh you back into their comfortable illusions. But while they're laughing, you're the one feeling the vibrations beneath your feet. You're the one hearing the footsteps in the distance before anyone else even notices. That's the curse of awareness. That's the price of being chosen. You don't get to sleep through the silence. You don't get to enjoy the calm. You have to stand in it, knowing it's just a mask stretched tight over chaos. The air, it shifts in ways words can't capture. It makes your skin prickle, your stomach turn, your heart race for no reason at all. And yet, there is a reason. You're being told without being told. You're being pulled without being touched. The shift is the invitation, the opening act, the drum roll before the scream. You can't stop it. You can't fight it. You can only notice it. And when you notice, everything changes. Because once you've felt the air twist like that, you can never go back to believing it's just air. You know it's a warning. You know it's a promise. That's why people fear silence. That's why they drown it out with noise, with distractions, with anything to stop them from hearing what the world is really saying. But you're not like them. You don't run from it. You don't cover your ears. You listen. You pay attention. You let the silence crawl under your skin. You let the weight crush into your chest. You let the shift take hold of you, because deep down, you already know the truth. Storms don't come without purpose. The air doesn't change for nothing. And if you feel it before anyone else does, it means you've been marked. It means the storm has a message for you alone. It means the horror isn't just approaching. Its searching fear is the first sign you've been chosen. Not courage, not strength, not some shining moment of victory. No, it begins with fear, that shiver down your spine, the tightening in your chest, the way your hands tremble when no one's watching. Fear creeps in when the world starts to shift, when the silence grows heavy, when you know something is crawling closer. And you can lie to yourself, tell yourself you're fine, but deep down you know fear never lies. Fear is honest. That's what makes it different from all the masks people wear. People lie every day, smile when they want to scream, laugh when they want to cry, nod when they want to run. But fear doesn't play games. It's raw, it's real. It strips you naked in front of yourself. You can't pretend when fear has its claws in you. You can't fake calm when your heart is hammering like a drum. That's why fear is the first mark of the chosen. Because only those who are awake enough to feel it, to sense the horror creeping toward them, are worth being chosen at all. Think about it. The ones who never feel fear, they're not brave. They're blind. They walk through the world deaf to the whispers, numb to the warnings. The storm can roar right above their heads, and they'll smile like fools, thinking the calm will last forever. That's not courage. That's ignorance. But you're different. You feel fear before anyone else. You feel it when others are laughing. You feel it when others are sleeping. You feel it when the shadows start stretching, and no one else even notices they've grown longer. That sensitivity, that trembling awareness, that's not weakness. That's the mark. That's the proof. Fear isn't there to break you. No, fear is the signal. Fear is the whisper that says, you've been chosen. It shows up first because it prepares you. It sharpens you. When fear grabs you by the throat, suddenly every sense is alive. You hear more, you see more. You notice every detail, the way the floor creaks, the way a smile twitches wrong, the way the air thickens with tension. Fear opens your eyes wider than comfort ever could. And the chosen, they need that. They need to be awake. Because what's coming won't be kind, and only those who are alert will survive it. The irony is that people run from fear. They medicate it, bury it, drink it away, distract themselves until they're numb. But the chosen, oh, they don't get that luxury. The chosen are forced to feel every sharp edge of fear, every icy finger down their spine. And in that discomfort, they learn the truth: fear is not an enemy. Fear is a guide. Fear is a teacher. Fear is the hand that points toward destiny, even when destiny is wrapped in horror. And here's the thing most will never understand: the greater the fear, the greater the calling. If you feel only a flicker, maybe you're standing on the sidelines. But if fear grips your gut, if it makes your knees weak, if it makes you doubt your own sanity, that means the storm has chosen you. That means the horror isn't random, it's personal. The universe doesn't waste fear on the ordinary. It reserves it for the ones who are meant to step through it. Fear is the fire that burns away illusions. You can't hold onto lies when fear is gnawing at you. You can't pretend you're safe. You can't pretend you're small. You can't pretend you're just another face in the crowd. Fear rips those masks off and leaves you staring at the raw, trembling truth. You are in the center of something bigger, something darker, something that doesn't just want to scare you. It wants to change you. And in that moment, when fear is at its peak, when your pulse is screaming in your ears, you discover something no ordinary person will ever touch. You realize fear is not just proof that something terrible is coming. It's proof that you matter. You wouldn't be afraid if you weren't standing at the edge of something monumental. You wouldn't feel the claws digging into you if you weren't standing in the crosshairs of destiny. The storm doesn't whisper to the crowd. The horror doesn't chase shadows. It hunts the chosen. It hunts the ones who can feel it before it arrives. And if fear is haunting you, if it is consuming you, then you already know you've been marked. The horror hunts only the strong. That's the part nobody understands. They think horror is random, blind, cruel. They think it picks its victims at random, like some twisted game of chance. But no, that's not how it works. The horror isn't interested in the weak. Why would it be? The weak crumble too easily. They break before the game even starts. There's no satisfaction in crushing something that was already in pieces. The horror has standards. It wants a challenge. It wants someone who can feel the weight, someone who can fight back, someone who can suffer properly before they rise or fall. That's why it comes for the strong. That's why it comes for you. The weak hide in their comfort, and the horror walks right past them. They're invisible, irrelevant, background noise in the grand play of chaos. The horror doesn't waste time on them because they can't give it what it craves: resistance. The strong, though, The strong are different. They don't run as easily. They don't surrender as quickly. They hold on, they fight, they endure. And that's what makes breaking them so exquisite, so meaningful. And if they don't break, if they survive, then they become something even the horror respects. You see, the horror is a hunter, and every hunter chooses prey worth chasing. Do you think lions waste their time on corpses? Do you think wolves stalk the sheep that fall behind? No. They go for the proud, the defiant, the ones that think they can outrun fate. Because those are the ones that make the hunt real. That's how the horror works. It doesn't care about the weak who hide in the shadows. It stalks the ones who dare to stand in the light, the ones who carry themselves like they matter, the ones who've already proven they're different. And here's the cruel truth. The fact that you feel it, the fact that you sense it creeping closer, means you're not weak. It means you've been noticed, marked, chosen. The horror doesn't chase cowards. It doesn't need to. It comes for the strong, because the strong have something worth taking. They have courage. They have willpower. They have something that can be tested, bent, maybe even broken. And breaking the strong, that's the real prize. But there's another layer. Sometimes the horror doesn't come to destroy the strong. Sometimes it comes to shape them, to carve them out like stone, to burn them like iron, to strip away everything soft until only the unshakable remains. The weak can't be shaped that way. They collapse before the fire even touches them. But the strong are forged in that fire. And when the horror hunts them, it's not just an attack. It's a transformation. That's the twisted beauty of it. You think the horror comes to ruin you, but in reality, it's choosing you. It's acknowledging you. Out of the millions sleepwalking through their dull little lives, it pointed its finger at you and said, This one is worthy. Do you realize what that means? It means you are not ordinary. You're not just another name, another body, another ghost in the crowd. You're a target. You're prey. And not just any prey. The kind that makes the hunt worthwhile. The strong don't like to admit they're afraid. They put on their armor. They grin through their pain. They act like nothing can touch them. But when the horror arrives, even the strong tremble. And that trembling, that cracking, that edge of despair, that's the moment of truth. That's when the strong are either destroyed or remade. That's when they either break like glass or harden into something unbreakable. The weak will never know that test. The weak will never feel that fire. Only the strong get chosen for that moment. Only the strong get to find out what they're really made of. And here's the irony. The strong spend their lives wishing the horror would leave them alone. But deep down, they wouldn't have it any other way. Because without the hunt, without the terror, without the endless test, how would they know their own power? Comfort never reveals strength. Safety never awakens the giant inside. Only the horror does that. Only the hunt exposes the truth. The horror hunts only the strong, because the strong are the only ones worth hunting. And if it's after you, if you feel its breath on your neck, if you hear its footsteps in the silence, then you already know what that means. It means you are not weak. It means you have been chosen for the chase. It means you are exactly the kind of prey that makes the hunt beautiful. Ordinary faces will never see it coming. They walk through life blind, smiling, laughing, lost in their routines, clutching their little comforts like children clutching toys. They think tomorrow will look just like today, and the day after will be no different. They don't feel the shift in the air. They don't hear the silence growing louder. They don't see the shadows moving at the edges. Ordinary faces live in a dream, a sweet little lie wrapped around them like a blanket. And when the horror approaches, when it rises from the dark, they are the first to be swallowed whole. Not because they were chosen, but because they were asleep. The ordinary live in patterns. Wake up, eat, work, sleep, repeat. They don't question the unease that prickles at the back of their mind. They bury it. They ignore it. They laugh at it. They tell themselves, it's nothing. It's just in my head. That's how they survive their dull little days. But survival isn't awareness. Survival isn't strength. Survival is just drifting, blind and numb, waiting to be erased without ever knowing what erased them. They never see it coming. Because seeing requires eyes that are truly open. Look at them closely. Every smile is empty. Every conversation shallow. Every dream small enough to fit inside a box. They don't look past the surface because the surface is enough for them. They don't dig deeper because they're terrified of what they might find. They'd rather stay blind than face the truth that something darker, something heavier, is lurking just beyond their line of sight. That's why the ordinary never notice the storm until it's too late. They're too busy pretending life is safe. Too busy distracting themselves with noise and illusions. Too busy hiding from the very thing that's already reaching for them. But you're different. You've seen the cracks in the mask. You've heard the whispers beneath the laughter. You've felt the silence that ordinary faces never feel. That's why the horror comes for you. Because you are not blind. You don't live in that same dream. You see what they refuse to see, and that makes you dangerous. That makes you awake. That makes you the one who can't be lulled back to sleep. And the horror, it doesn't care about the sleepers. It's after the ones awake enough to sense it. The ordinary will never understand that. They'll laugh at you when you tell them. They'll call you paranoid, dramatic, unstable. They'll tell you to relax, to stop worrying, to just live like them. But that's because they can't feel it. They can't taste the static in the air. They can't sense the weight pressing down on the world. They can't hear the rhythm of something approaching. And in their ignorance, they think they're safe. They think blindness is protection. But blindness isn't protection. It's the reason they'll never stand a chance. Ordinary faces are easy prey. They don't resist. They don't fight. They don't even notice until it's already too late. By the time they realize something's wrong, by the time the laughter in the room turns hollow and the shadows start closing in, The horror already has them. That's why you never envy the ordinary. Their ignorance looks like peace, but it's only silence before the scream. It's only calm before the chaos. They mistake blindness for safety, but in reality, it's a curse. And here's the twisted truth: the horror lets them stay blind on purpose. It doesn't need them awake. It doesn't need them ready. It's almost too easy. They'll walk straight into the jaws, smiling, talking, unaware that every step brings them closer to the edge. They'll keep believing tomorrow will be the same as today, right until the moment tomorrow swallows them whole. They'll never see it coming. They were never meant to. That's the difference between the ordinary and the chosen. The ordinary lie blind until they're erased. The chosen live awake, haunted by the knowledge that something is moving in the dark. Ordinary faces get comfort. Chosen faces get fear. And while they laugh, while they sleep, while they blind themselves with shallow distractions, you are left staring into the silence, knowing the truth they'll never know, that the horror doesn't care about the blind. It only reveals itself to the ones cursed enough to see. Chaos reveals who you truly are. Not peace, not comfort, not safety. Those things are illusions, soft walls that hide the cracks underneath. Everyone looks composed when the world is quiet. Everyone looks strong when nothing is threatening them. But strip away the routine, the order, the balance, and throw them into chaos. Then you see the truth. Then you see who's fragile, who's hollow, who's been wearing a mask. Chaos rips that mask off, piece by piece, until there's nothing left to hide behind. In chaos, the polite smiles vanish. The small talk, the pleasantries, the fake kindness, gone in an instant. Fear takes over, greed takes over, desperation takes over. Suddenly, the ones who pretended to be noble show how quickly they'll betray. The ones who claim to be brave show how fast they'll run. That's the beauty of chaos. It doesn't lie. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about your reputation, your titles, your stories. It squeezes your soul like a fist, and whatever leaks out. That's who you really are. Most people are terrified of chaos for that very reason. Not just because it's dangerous, not just because it's unpredictable, but because deep down they know they can't survive the mirror it holds up. They know if the walls collapse, their true selves will crawl out, and that truth won't be heroic, won't be pretty, won't be something they can brag about. It'll be ugly, selfish, raw. It'll be the version of themselves they've been hiding from their whole lives. And chaos doesn't care if you're ready to see it. It shows you anyway. But you don't get to run from it. The chosen never do. You've felt chaos breathing down your neck. You've stood in its storm while others were still pretending the weather was fine. You know how it strips you, how it burns through your excuses, how it takes everything you thought you were and throws it into the fire. And yet, here you are, still standing. That's the difference. The ordinary crumble in chaos because they've built their lives on lies. You endure because you've been forced to face the truth. And here's the sick twist. Chaos isn't just destruction. It's revelation. It's the hand that rips down the stage curtains, showing what's been hiding behind them the whole time. Without chaos, people get to live their entire lives pretending. Pretending they're kind, pretending they're strong, pretending they're happy. But chaos doesn't allow pretending. It digs its claws into your chest, and whatever spills out, that's you. The raw, unfiltered you. And that's why the horror loves chaos. Because it knows the only way to find the chosen is to break the world around them and see who rises from the wreckage. You see, it's easy to say you're brave when no one is chasing you. Easy to say you're loyal when no one is testing you. Easy to say you're strong when nothing is trying to break you. Words are cheap in calm waters, but throw someone into the storm. Watch who they become. Some beg, some betray, some collapse, and a rare few stand taller than before. They scream, they bleed, they fall to their knees, but they rise again. That's the revelation. That's the moment chaos says, this one is real. And don't be fooled. Chaos doesn't just test once. It keeps coming. It keeps pressing. It keeps breaking down whatever false pieces of you still remain. Every time you think you've figured yourself out, it shatters you again, forcing you to look deeper, forcing you to uncover layers you didn't even know existed. Chaos isn't satisfied until there's nothing left to strip away, until what's left is raw, untouchable, undeniable, until you are standing in your truest form, the one even you didn't know was buried inside. Most people would call that cruelty, but you know better. It's not cruelty, it's revelation. Without chaos, you'd never know who you really are. Without chaos, you'd never see what you're capable of. Without chaos, you'd still be another face in the crowd, another mask smiling through a lie. That's why the chosen are dragged into the storm again and again. Not to be destroyed, but to be revealed. Because only chaos can show you the truth that comfort will always hide.